Three, two, one.
Here we go!
Welcome to ASD Market Week's YouTube series, Retail Revelations Inside the Deal. This is your all-access pass to the world of buying and selling in the retail space. We're getting candid and having real conversations on what it takes to get the deal done. This is Retail Revelations Inside the Deal. Hello and welcome to Retail Revelations Inside the Deal. I'm your host, Stephanie Beringhele, and today we've got a repeat offender. We didn't scare him the last time he was on. Please welcome Damian Polak with his new company, Archer Logistix.
Hello,
Damian,
hello.
welcome.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be back. Happy to be back. This is season 2, 3.
So season 2 of Retail Revelations, but we had you on the original podcast. So let's talk a
Right.
little shop, and I didn't scare you, so I'm kind of proud.
No, I love the work you're doing. I love this podcast. I listen to it all the time, actually. You have some, I want to quote unquote, heavy hitters on here from the
Yeah.
retail world and from the ASD show world. So it's always a good learning experience of just listening what people have to say and learning about their stories and how they moved up in the world of retail and how ASD helped them do that. So it's cool. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So a lot has transitioned since we last spoke. You have been hands-on on another podcast, the Circular podcast.
The all things circular. Yep.
All things circular. And I was just on it, and I have to tell you, it's so nice to hear about just the industry and ways that people are being progressive and not having waste go into the dumps. So that I've been an avid listener, and I think you've done that. You've become a dad. And then, of course, you came back to the liquidation space. So the
Couldn't
industry
stay
is
away.
screaming. We're so excited about it. So tell us about the new company, how you came up with the name, and why you decided to come back.
So the name isn't that great of a story. I live on Archer Avenue.
Oh,
So now it's Archer Logistix. We focus on reverse logistics, aka liquidations, overstock, and return management. And it just everything that I've been doing the last 6 to 8 months has been kind of quote unquote hippy dippy to try to find myself. I jumped into the liquidation world when I was 23 years old. Now I'm a dad, 30, married, life is different, priorities change. So it was time for a change. It was time to kind of shake things up and really, I want to say, align and focus and do what I want to do, A, and B, what I think we should be doing. Because the liquidation world is kind of the wild, wild west. And no matter how much like work goes into, there's more podcasts out now, there's more information, there's a lot of education, you know, places like ASD are recognizing it that it's a very valuable space and there's a very big industry behind it. So the more exposure, kind of comes around the liquidation world, I feel like there's just more work to be done. So yeah, I've been realigned. I started a new company about a month ago. It's called Archer Logistix. We're in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, and we focus on returns and we focus on liquidating overstock from brands and retailers and manufacturers, but then repurposing that product and putting it back on retail shelves. So our main focus, the mom and pop shop liquidators, but then also love to work with the big boys, as I like to call them.
yeah.
So the ultimate goal is definitely to end up with our product, that we're touching on the shelves of big lots, Ollie's, and things of that nature.
So you originally did your first company during COVID, then you came back. What learnings did you find that made it easier this round to open up shop and get things going? What did you learn and what did you apply?
Yeah, great question. I honestly think it's very simple. It's the relationships that I've been able to cultivate and develop over the years, and it's the education and the experience that I've gained from doing it for 5 6 years. Right, I started it off as a small retailer, running that bin store, and then we kind of started dabbling in e-commerce, and then dabbling in wholesaling, and just touching everything and anything that would kind of make us money. But after doing that for 5 years, it just became too much. It's you got to focus, you got to align, you got to find the one thing that you're good at. And I've noticed that I'm really good at building relationships. Honestly, it's as simple as just doing what you're gonna say you're gonna do and
Yeah.
executing it. If you do that, you're 90% there. So by the experiences that I've been able to have and the relationships that I was able to develop, relaunching a company that's focused is a lot easier this time around.
You're so modest because something that you're also really good at outside of relationships and partnerships is that you've got a keen eye. You see value where I think a lot of people don't. They see it as a high risk, and you say, wait a minute, there's a solution, and somebody out there I know is going to want that product. So I'm all hands on. So talk to us about how you trained yourself to see the value. And do you think that that's just because you have those relationships and you hear what people want and then you just connect them with the right items?
Right, right. So I think two parts to this answer would be, it's my background. I think I grew up to be resourceful. I migrated here from Poland when I was 9 years old. So, you move here to a new country, you kind of like, you got to figure shit out. Nobody's here. Nobody's giving you a book on how to start a new life in a new country as a 9 year old. Right. So, that kind of background, I think really pushed me into that resourcefulness and curiosity of like figuring things out, and then the hustle mentality, right? So I started selling and flipping stuff very early on. I learned about the whole garage sale, Gary V style, like
Yeah.
get something for $2 listed on eBay for 20. Once I figure out that, hey, as a seventh grader, I could be doing this and making an extra $100, then it was off to the races. So that's, the small part of it. I think that's what kind of began the whole journey. But the real things come from the conversations that I'm having, right? Like I am on the phone nonstop, all day, every day, just talking to people from not. I don't want to see all over the world. I definitely have some international friends, but it's mostly all over the United States. And people in California versus people in Florida versus New Yorkers versus Midwesterners, they see things differently. They have different perspectives. They find value in different items. They find value in different things, and I think just talking to these people and kind of cultivating that, what's the word I'm looking for here? The value, right? Just learning what is value and what is valuable to other things at different places. I think that's the simplest way to put it.
One of my favorite stories that you spoke of was that you said, "Wait a minute, there was, I think, grocery stores and they have the Gaylords." And you said they see them as a pain in the butt. They have to
100%.
deconstruct them, then they have to get them out of the trash and away from their establishment. And you said, "Wait a minute, I can make some money off of this because there's other people that want this product and I can get it to them and I can make a buck." So that was interesting. Are there any other types of products that you kind of have found that are similar to that?
The Gaylords for sure. I mean, that was a unique one, I would say, because that is definitely like you're taking a waste product and turning it into something useful. And and it's kind of comes back to what I was just talking about. I talked to the right person. I talked to the guys that I want to say it's called the Gaylord Exchange, and then I was looking for Gaylords, and they're like, "Well, hey, like these are used." I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean used? Where do you get used ones from?" They're like, "Oh, we people send them to us because they don't want to trash them." And I'm like, "Oh, simple. Then I'll just go ask the guys next door to me, see if they got any of those." So, it's like just having conversations and learning from people and just being open-minded enough to kind of talk to anyone and everyone. Um, but other stories of just being really, really waste management happy. The liquidation deals. I think those are just the best examples because they do vary from everything to anything. And I've traded 200,000 units of party supplies to snowblower truckloads of snowblowers to just clothing, and it could be 20,000 units of one set of leggings, and then it could be 3,000 units of just mixed apparel in a Gaylord, and it's men's, women's, and children's. Right? There's a buyer out there for everyone, for everything. It's just got to be at the right price, and it's got to be positioned the right way. That person that's going to be receiving that product, it has to fit their business model, and they have to be set up in a certain way to receive certain products, right? One shop might be suitable for a brand new leggings that are hanger ready with a nice retail packaging, and they just gotta put it out, price it, and then they just restack them, right? And they're okay with having that one type of product for the next year or two because it's a basic essential black pair of leggings, right? But another, a mom and pop shop that I work with a lot, like the mom and pop shops in the Midwest, They are more of like that treasure hunt type of environment where they're looking for different things and that to build scarcity, and they only want, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 of that same item. And it sounds crazy because I know the old fashioned retail is not that designed that way. You want a repeat of the same item, and just so you can skew it up, put it in your system and let it run for the next year. Not the new wave of liquidation stores. That new wave of liquidation stores is looking for variety. They're looking for that surprise and wow factor, and they're trying to give every customer a treasure hunt experience, because that's kind of what makes that experience fun for everybody. I don't know if that answered the question, but
It totally does, and I love it because the scarcity that you talk about, that breeds extra value because now there's an intent that I need to purchase this because there's only a few of these. So
right.
I love that business model, and I think it changes where the consumer right now might be overwhelmed with what's going out in the market. It's just everything's the same, and then there's a whole lot of it, and it's kind of boring. So the treasure hunt, ASD, we love the treasure hunt. So I want to dig in though, because the mom and pop mentality within the liquidation space, you noted it the best. You said there's flexibility within that business model, and they
Hmm.
are on the ground, able to pivot on a moment's notice. And that's what makes it so valuable. So, talk about this wave of independent mom and pops coming up and rising up in the liquidation space.
Yeah, and it's huge. It honestly, I think it's the next new trend. If I just think we're just at the tip of the iceberg, like we're just at the beginning, because there's more and more popping up every single day. It's very simple. It started during COVID, and it was a unique blend of a demand and need for the product for the especially from the pricing structure. People were looking for deals. Then there was a huge surge in the retail space availability, right? Commercial real estate was very cheap. I mean, I got into a commercial space for like an absurd amount. It was just landlord just needed to fill the spaces because they were afraid that they're never going to find a renter, because you don't know how long was going to last, the pandemic, it's all over the place. So they were just giving out deals to fill spaces because they rather collect that 2, 3, 4, 5 grand rather than to be completely empty, right? And somebody at
Yeah.
least is covering those taxes or the water bills or whatever it might be, and driving traffic to the plazas, which was huge too. But this wave of mom and pop shops started in COVID, and I think it's because the return game really became popular. And what I mean by the return game is that retailers like Amazon, Target, um, Best Buy, Sam's Club, Costco, like those big retail box stores, they started seeing a very very big surge of returns because of the online shopping that was happening.
Yep.
And when that online shopping was happening, obviously your returns are going to go up at the same time, right? So it's very highly correlated. So now when the returns are happening, what do these retailers do? A lot of them weren't even set up to process these returns, right? They didn't have the proper, technology, the proper inbounds on the back end, because this is, every retail and like a distribution center is set up for things to go forward logistics. You're going to receive it from the manufacturer and you keep pushing it forward. You're going to push it out to your distribution center, you're going to push it out to your store, you're going to push it out to your customer, right? Everything is moving forward. On the reverse side, when a return happens, now a clerk at the store receives this. What do they do with it? It's an online return. This wasn't part of our store's inventory in the first place. So does that mean we put it back on the shelf? Well, now our inventory is going to be off. Well, is this a brand new item? I don't know. It got returned. I mean, I guess it's open. I mean, yeah, it looks good, but who am I to judge? I'm just a clerk. You see what I mean? So now it's like, now they start piling it on in the store with, make a pallet or two, and they're just like, yeah, we'll take care of this. But whose responsibility is it? There's nobody in the store to manage this. There's no reverse logistics manager there. There's nobody that understands the grading process, right? Like, what makes this return worth reselling? Not what's the value here? Do we price it the same? There's not a lot of retailers that had that figured out, and this has been like a big wave in the last 5 years that they're really, really catching on, and they're really, really figuring that out. So, long story short, during COVID, these returns were just dirt cheap. I mean, and they were dirt cheap prior to this, right? Truckloads of returns were very, very, very affordable. So it gave the small-minded entrepreneur, not small-minded, sorry, small entrepreneurs, big-minded small entrepreneurs in, rural towns in America, in the Midwest, 2, 3 hours away from Chicago. You might not have a Sam's Club, a Costco, a Walmart, and a Best Buy all on the same plaza. And then 3 miles down, it's happening again, right? They might just have one Target, or they might just have a Walmart, but they don't have a Target. So now if you get a Target returns truckload and you pop open a 5,000, 10,000 square foot store with the return merchandise, which provides that, like we talked about, fun shopping experience of a
Yeah.
treasure hunt. Now, not only do you have product that's not available in a 50, 60, 100-mile radius, you also have a treasure hunt experience. So people are just excited to go because they have nothing to do. Like, people love shopping, right?
Yeah.
People love shopping malls. So, and plus the prices are great because now the retailers buying these returns at 10, 20, 30%. They're processing them, they're grading them, they're making sure this stuff works, they're cleaning it up if it has to, they're pricing it out. So that costs, right, a lot of money. But they're willing to do that, as opposed to big retailers might not find it worth it, because for them, they're receiving 20 containers of air fryers every day. And they're like, well, let's just put those, boom, that's easy. Price it out, get it out. It's not worth it for them to now process this air fryer, make sure that all the pieces are in there, touch it up, make it look clean, and now price it out at a different price point and have it compete with the original brand new item. So you see what I mean? It just doesn't make too much sense on a big scale. But from a mom and pop shop's perspective, it does make sense to put in $10 worth of labor to fix up that air fryer, which you're going to make $25 on. And if they sell 100 air fryers a month, that's a good living. It's not, and that's just one item. And now you have, 10,000 items in your store. So yeah, the rise of mom and pop shop liquidation stores, I think, is going to be huge. I think it's been huge. It's been growing. Started with the bin store model, and then people started converting into more of like an off-price retail, right? And I have have more than a couple of friends that are running these type of stores now that, they started with 5,000 square feet, and now they're up to 3, 4, 5 locations with 20, 30,000 square foot, spaces. So I think it's huge. I think it's a good trend. I like it. I think it's a great recovery on the return side. In that whole all things circular mindset, there's a recovery there happening that wouldn't be happening. These products would be ending up in landfills. They would just be getting either burned or incinerated, whatever it might be. But they're actually ending up in retail stores, in discount stores. And now the discount stores are providing a great service to the community, but also for the planet. So win, 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 win. Whew.
There's a
And you
beauty
can take
to
a
it
breath
too. I
after
always
that.
say that there's a purpose for everyone, and it takes the pressure off of the bigger box stores of saying, we know this isn't your business model. We're not expecting you to do it. I think they're fearful that if they were to have the different levels of inspections and then they put something back on the show floor that's not of the level that the consumer is thinking that it should be, that hurts the brand. So this
Right.
organically allows the product to travel to its next life, where the expectation from that consumer group is, okay, we know there might be a little bit of something with it, but it's okay, and we're going to have a great price for it, and chances are it's going to be an amazing product and it works for everyone. So I think it's great. I want to go into, not it's a messy industry, so not every product that you purchase is going to be amazing. So tell us about the expectation, like, when do you know not to buy an item, or how do you say,
Ooh.
okay, I'm going to verify that this is a right seller and this product is going to be good, and I'm going to assess it and see it in person? What does that look like?
That is a complicated one, and everyone has their own process, right? Some people rely on people like me to do that vetting for them, right? So I work with small liquidation stores that trust me in order to do the legwork of verifying that that product is up to the right standards, right? So on their end, it's more like as a retailer, right? It's more of a travel to ASD, get to meet people like me, get to meet people that are in the liquidation and closeout world, right? Visit the Bazaar booth, visit, whoever else, the Kohl's Imports, and visit those booths there, shake hands, meet the sales reps, and be like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm looking for. Can you help me find it, supply me, yada, yada. On my end, when you're on that supply end, right? So I'm dealing with a lot of people that are just trying to get rid of stuff. And that can vary from a mom that was a garage sale flipper that just like, hey, I have, just 3 racks of stuff that I was selling on eBay. I'm moving out. I need this stuff cleared. To, big manufacturers saying, hey, I have 80 compressors that were returned because they're broken and we have no idea what to do with them. To somebody that was an importer that had 100,000 units of, I don't know, some hookah pieces, like
Yeah.
hookah pipes or what, I've sold hookah coals too. So it's like, so it's just of the variety of goods, right? So on my end, I work with trusted and vetted sources because this is a shady business, and for lack of a better term, you can end up buying some stolen goods, stolen, just not fake. I literally just bought something that was fake, and now I'm having an issue. But they didn't like it's just a small health and beauty item, but something just didn't feel right. It came, and I'm like, let me order a bunch of these off Amazon and a couple other websites. Those came in, and I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, this is 100% inauthentic, right? Thank God that where I got it from, they'll take care of me. But it's like, see, I didn't ship that out before I verified everything, right? So it might have cost me $150 in buying, 80 different shampoos from 8 different retailers, but now I'm not passing that on to my customers and supply and stores that I work with, right? Um, stolen goods, unauthentic goods, goods that you cannot verify the supply chain. That's a very important one. You can be, let's say, you're dealing with a 3PL, right? Somebody, 3PL that was storing and packing goods for a Amazon store, right? The Amazon store stopped paying their bills. So now whose inventory is it? Is it the brands? Is it the 3PLs that is owed money for the unpaid bills of the of the product storage and pick and ship? How long has it been? Has it been 10 days, 90 days, 120 days, 3 years? Has that company went bankrupt? Have you guys been to court? Is there letters? Is there a release? Like there's a lot of different things in the supply chain that you can run into, and not having like an authorized owner of the goods trying to sell you the goods. So my job is to verify all these things. I do it by very simply. I work with trusted sources and trusted sources only. As I'm sure your LinkedIn inbox is also pretty hot. You get a lot of random messages with a lot of random people trying to sell you a lot of random things.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I look at them, but I rarely pull the trigger, and that's just me being honest. If it's like a larger manufacturer or a brand owner or somebody that has it, then it's usually me flying out. Hey, I'll be on the East Coast next month. Can I come stop by and check out the goods? Right. Once I get my eyes on it, or maybe I'll send somebody out that I trust in that area to go verify, take photos, videos, and just do a verification process. Then we get into the paperwork. Do you have a trail here? Do you have an invoice? There's people that are like, tell me that they won't issue me an invoice. I'm like, well, then no, we're not doing this. Like, why won't you put your name on this product? This, you see, so it's a very shady, wild west industry, right? And it's changing. It's definitely, technology and social media has definitely changed things a lot. But it's still very wild, and you got to be
Yeah.
careful.
It's why people like you are so important. It's so funny because I still think that somebody needs to do a reality show on this space. It's kind of like
There is
Storage
some.
Wars, and
There
then you've got
is.
the pawn store, whatever. But this space is so unique. And if you ever want a trip, you got to go to Facebook because they have all those groups, and they'll say,
Oh
so and
yes.
so is shady shade, and this and that. So I can't stress enough for those that are looking, especially a mom and pop that are looking to purchase valid goods. You need to go to somebody like a Damien who knows the industry well, who's doing the vetting, who's really protecting you so that you don't do that wrong buy, because that's going to compromise your whole business structure. So that matters a lot. Are we
A
going to do a
lot.
reality show on this? Is this
I'm
down the
telling you,
pipeline?
there is some already. There is some in Europe, which they do like a weird like auction style. Like they do a pallet in the middle of a warehouse, and then like 10 people gather around it. It's kind of like Storage Wars, right? They get 10 seconds to look around the pallet, pick and prod, and then they bid on it. So I know that's in Europe for sure, and I'm pretty positive there's something on in the US as well. Don't quote me. It's like unboxing or something like that.
Oh,
And it just
interesting.
shows like the life of liquidators. It's something along those lines. But YouTube is the biggest reality
Yeah.
show. If you're looking for liquidation palace, just type in liquidation pallets on YouTube, and then you'll see a lot of people unboxing stuff and showing you how kind of looks like from which retailer.
So, I got to ask, this leads into live selling and a potential YouTube channel. Are you going to do either of those with the business model?
So our last business, right, Nice Find, where I come from, we used to run a Facebook group, and then it was grew pretty large. I would say it's like 15, 20,000 members. Got rid of that, sold that to a liquidation company, and then I also sold the YouTube channel. So I'm kind of scared because I gave up the rights to my own face and content. There's like 100 videos on YouTube that I have zero control over now. So, but I did get rid of that. So as of right now, I'm probably going to stick to the LinkedIn kind of thought leadership style of content creation. It's been very good to me. I like it. I like the people that I'm meeting on LinkedIn. And it's just far less stressful. YouTube is like just a lot. It's just a lot, you can burn out very easily, and just shooting vlogs of the products that I was dealing with also caused me some headaches, from brands, from retailers that maybe didn't want the product to be shown on camera
Mhm.
for different reasons, just distribution rights, resale rights, all this type of advertisement copyrights, right? So it got me to where I am today. I got on this podcast for probably because of the YouTube channel, and now I want to kind of hang back and just focus on, you know, just showcasing like the skill side of liquidations rather than the products. Because the products, I'm just gonna leave that for the retailers. They can showcase it, they can sell it. For me, on my end, I'll just talk about it more rather than show it.
I totally agree with you. That my face is on some of those videos that you sold, just so
Yeah,
you
I did.
know.
I
I feel
did.
so weird about it.
Good
Like,
exposure.
right? So tell me about, okay, so Joann's, they recently went bankrupt, right? People have done the liquidation process. Most of, I think all the product actually is now accounted for, and it's been on to its next life. Do you see that as a game when you see large companies go bankrupt and the liquidation process is going through? Do you see it as something as an opportunity, or do you think that that's more still for the larger businesses and that they're going to dive into it before you get an opportunity or a chance to look at those goods?
Both, definitely both. It's definitely an opportunity because it just creates opportunities downstream. Even if I'm not the one taking care of 500 Joanne's going out of business, the bigger liquidator hires liquidators like me to take care of 3 stores, to wrap it all up, get it all into boxes, account the inventory, right? So, and then that inventory now can be resold either by me or they take it. Just it all depends on the liquidation, and how fast and what they're trying to do with it. Um, I obviously do not have the capacity to liquidate 500 Joanne stores. There's just absolutely not. I wish one day maybe, but it does create that product does flow downstream, right? So now that bigger liquidator, they're gonna break it up, they're gonna categorize it, and they're gonna hit up closeout guys like me. They go, hey, we know you like pillowcases. We have 20,000 of those, right? We know you like fake flowers. Here's 100,000 of those. We know you're really good at balloons. Here's 20,000 of those, right? So then they kind of start hitting people up that know can do well with certain products in certain lanes. Um, like the bankruptcies are kind of sad. I always think they're pretty sad. A lot of people are losing their jobs. It's creating opportunities for liquidators and people downstream, but it's also, it's causing a lot of headaches for a lot of people. So it's hard to get excited about it. But it's a thing. It's part of the business. I think it's one of those adapt and evolve or die. Because if that's, retail, you need to be on your toes. Forever 21, right? They're going out of business. There's a lot of apparel that's ending up on what you mentioned on live selling. So a lot of the Forever 21 clothing is getting liquidated, and a lot of liquidators are picking it up and running it through the life sale, right?
Yep.
So now, yes, the families related to the Forever 21 employees, they're kind of getting the shitty end of the stick here, but the liquidators are now pushing out that product at 1/10 of the prices to everybody around the United States. So a lot of families can now benefit from cheaper clothing. So it's a two-edged sword. It's just the way you kind of look at it, and where you position yourself. As long as you're doing what you think is ethically right and you're not trying to take advantage of people, I think, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So that's gonna bring me to ASD Market Week and why we love our community so much. So we cry every time a business goes under. It is not good for the industry. And we cheer when Big Lots got picked up by variety wholesale stores. We were so stoked. And it's like, okay, there's a second life for Big Lots.
Right.
And it was exciting. But I often say that we are a reflection of the market at ASD. And it's the one place that, especially when times are tough, you gotta be at the show because that's when you really solidify, "Okay, this is what I need to do to move my business forward, even though the environment is terrible, and I am fearful that my company is gonna go under," because it's where like-minded people meet up and they talk
Right.
about, "Okay, what can I sell or what can I purchase that makes sense?" So, talk to me about your relationship with ASD. We're big fans of yours. You've been around for a
I love
while.
ASD.
How did you find ASD Market Week, and what keeps you coming or what makes you like us?
How did I find it? I found it probably 6, 7 years ago. And it was just one of those things like looking for places to go with like-minded individuals, entrepreneurs doing things, products, like, because I started going to get me ideas. Like, I think it's like the best place to go when you are just looking to brainstorm. And not only by talking to people, because there's a lot of smart people walking around on that floor, just entrepreneurs, brand owners, manufacturers, I mean, retailers, there's a little bit of everyone. I mean, even service providers, right? You got the post office people there you can chat with. You got FedEx posting up a booth, just random services that you might utilize in your business. Um, but the product side, right, you get to walk around and see what's happening on like the new product side, where what are the new trends coming out, like I remember 5 years ago, like a lot of people were selling Funko Pops. Now all the Funko Pops are in the closeout and
Yeah.
liquidation section, so it's like you could literally see where the trend just absolutely died. I mean, that's right there and there. But also just the idea, like just like the brainstorming factor of like, if a brand is selling a product and they're talking about their brand new, whatever water bottle that's insulated, and now you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, wait, what do you mean it's this and that? And they're like, oh yeah, well, we changed it up, so now it's insulated via this, and we use titanium versus steel, and blah blah. And you're like, wait, what? Like, I had no idea that like this can work this way, right? And there is probably 10,000 examples just like that, because in every single booth it's something different. One guy's selling knives, the other guy's selling battle axes, and the third guy's selling, Korean face cream. And
Yeah.
you get to explore all of those avenues and learn about a little bit about all of those businesses. And from every single booth, you pick a little bit of knowledge up, right? And now I know that battle axes are best made in the USA because they're forged steel. And it just happened because I talked to a battle axe guy for 2 hours because I was like, this is really cool. Like, right. And that's why I love it going ASD, that I just for the sake of brainstorming, exploring ideas, learning about products, learning about the market trends, seeing where things are going. And then it's the best place to network with entrepreneurs, right? It's not only, I always tell people like the show opens at 9 and closes at 5, but I'm usually in at 8 and out by 8. So like, because
Yeah.
you just get to hang out on the floor, and or like in front, like, I spent like 2 3 hours in front of the building just talking to people, right? Because how many times are you going to be in a space where you run into 1,000 people that are doing something similar to you and they're willing to share? Because they're trying to learn, you're trying to learn. So might as well talk you through and maybe even grab a beer about it, right? So there's meetups that are after. So like you can literally keep going all day, all night, just networking and talking with people. And sometimes it gets so overwhelming that by day like 4 or 5, I'm like, I can't even do it. My brain is fried. I need
Yeah.
to take some notes and I need to like decompress to make sure I didn't forget everything that I just learned. So that's why I love ASD.
I love it. I'm all about that Korean skincare and I love the variety, but it's interesting. So if we went back to earlier on this conversation, you said returns were happening because when you don't see a product, sometimes it doesn't meet your expectations. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm not into it anymore. So I love that when you get on a show floor like an ASD, you
Hmm.
get to see it, you get to touch it, you get to ask those questions, and you get to make sure that it is valid, a valid purchase for your company. And I always say right now, there's been such disruption due to the tariffs, due to logistics of freight just getting from one place to the next. And the scariest thing for a retailer is to have empty shelves
Right.
or to have the wrong product in the shelves that you know you're never going to be able to sell. So that's what I love is that it all comes together and you just feel more confident as a team when you know that the product coming through, you've seen it, you like it, and you're excited about it. That's a big key.
Right, right. And I think that is a great point you bring up because it's one of the few shows where there's actually product on the floor where you can walk it, touch it, even put in an order if you're wanting to right there and then, right? And I've always put it in I'm a huge into traveling. I love traveling on my personal time, but also for business. I think it's the best way to minimize risk, to build relationships and just minimize risk because now if my trip to Vegas, tickets to ASD are free, which is amazing, right? Unless you arrive on, and I think on the first day, right? You got to pay like $50.
Yeah, you have to do that
But
advanced
register
setup.
before, people. Register before and it's free. So then, a flight to Vegas, usually pretty cheap because they're trying to get people out to Vegas. So two, three, let's say $500 on the flight. And you don't have to go for a whole week and party like a wild animal. You can literally just go for 2 nights, do what you got to do, touch a bunch of products, and come back. The trip can cost you less than $1,000, but you put in, let's say, 50 or $100,000 worth of orders, and you've touched that product, you shook the hand that's going to ship you that product, and you minimize the risk of receiving something that you didn't want to receive or the quality didn't meet your expectation, right? You pretty much just minimize all that risk by getting out there for 2 days and getting it all done within the 2, 3, 4 days that the show's going on, instead of doing it like single-handedly, like flying out to people, meeting them, and then you're only meeting one company instead of getting 15, 20, 30 people done all in a row, right? So yeah, big fan of ASD because of the fact that the products are on the floor.
Love it. Okay, so your dad is a game changer,
It
and I
is.
think you're experiencing it. We chatted a little bit earlier on. So, how is it this second time around being a CEO and founder, but now also having to care for a very precious, beautiful baby girl?
It's it's very, very hard. As you can see, like I am not like 100% right now. I'm not pretty. I'm not my pretty self. I'm on 3 hours with the sleep. And yeah, it's just an experience. I'll put it that way. It's amazing. It truly is. I really think I was pretty, I don't want to say strategic, but it was pretty planned that I want to launch the company around the same time as the birth, right? So I got all my ducks in a row. I rented a warehouse. I got everything that I needed to do before I went public with it. And then when I went public with it, it was right around the time that Nella was born. So when my daughter was born, it kind of like I knew that it was gonna give me that kick and the push and the tush that I needed, to be to be happy to be building something, because now I know that when I'm doing it for a greater purpose. And it also, it's like my priorities have gotten very, very straight, very, very quickly. Within a month, it's like it's insane how life changing it is to have a child. And everybody's told me this. I didn't believe it. I was like, no way. It's just, what do you mean? Like you just don't change overnight. You do 100%. I mean, even the way I like take care of things now, like I'm not BSing and scrolling on Facebook or like doom scrolling on LinkedIn. Like I know I got to get a LinkedIn post in. Boom, bang, bang, 15 minutes. I'm out. I'm not doom scrolling for another 45 because there's other things that need to be done, right? So priorities gotten straight, inspiration is there. I'm loving it. I love building a business and I also love being a dad. It's only been 3 weeks, but I'm having a good time.
You're
The
just
lack of
getting
sleep is
started.
the lack of sleep could change, but
Yeah, that time management is going to be your best friend, and also making sure that you carve out and it is you do not compromise that time away from your family and from just experiencing her growing up. So I
right.
think that we will be cheering you on from afar. We are big, big fans of you, and I can't wait to see what you do. And I'm just very grateful that you decided to hop on and come say hi to us.
Definitely, definitely. Call me whenever you want. I love ASD and I love working with you guys too. We've done some things in the past and they've always been successful, I would say. And I owe a lot to ASD from just just the show alone, not even everything that you've done, but also the show itself has given me a lot of value, a lot of relationships, a lot of connections that have been monumental in shaping of who I am and what my business does. So I will always be there for ASD. Appreciate you having me on. But I wanted to ask you something. Yeah, what's new for ASD in this in August? Should I go? Should I not? I got a 3-week old.
You should totally go because again, inventory, you either have it or you don't, and you want to make sure that you've got the right stuff. And I think that there's going to be a lot of competition on that floor. There's a lot of people that are purchasing for large volume stores, and of course, there's the mom and pop. So I think that anyone who's in the retail space, even the people that have the boutiques that are higher end, you will find elements of this show that will make you more money than perhaps the branded items that you're accustomed to. So I always say, come on out. It's the community. They're the best people in the business, and most of them come from generational businesses. And that's why we love the show. It's people first, and they know what they're doing. And I'm here to answer any and all questions. So anything you want to learn about ASD, come ping me.
DM me on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well,
That's the
Damian,
line.
have a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks for hopping on, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you, Stephanie. Bye, ASD.
Thank you for joining us. We want you to be a part of the show, so let us know who you want to see and what stories you want to hear. Leave us a comment and make sure you like and subscribe.